Laura, I want your opinion on the Seattle Seahawks. I look at their season next year, and I'm really worried about them. The Rams are finally good. The 49ers are making a resurgence. They just got Jimmy Garoppolo. And I actually look at the Seahawks, I'm like, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs next year. Like, they actually have significant problems, and I don't know how they're going to solve them. What do you think of the Seahawks?
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely worried. In the past, they've never really been a consistent team. So having hope for them, I've had hope for them. But this year, not so much.
You make a good point. I actually hadn't thought about that, but you think about it, the Seahawks had a great couple years, and they looked like they were building a dynasty. Then they lose to the Patriots on that horrible play on the goal line, where they should have just ran the ball, whatever, regardless. They looked like they were building something. They lost to the Patriots, and they haven't been the same ever since.
Yeah.
And you're right. They are kind of falling away. And if you look at the NFC next year, you have Aaron Rodgers is coming back. So the Packers are going to be good. The Lions are making a resurgence with Matthew Stafford. They just got a new head coach. The Falcons will be back. The Cowboys won't have an Ezekiel Elliott suspension. Saints will be good. The Eagles will be good. The NFC is chock full of really good teams, and I just don't see a way the Seahawks make it into the playoffs.
I couldn't agree with you more. On top of all of that, their roster is depleting. They have 15 unrestricted free agents, starting with Jimmy Graham, Thomas Rawls, Byron Maxwell, and Paul Richardson. So leaving them, honestly, with Russell Wilson to hold the offense.
I mean, it's true. They really only have Russell Wilson. That's the biggest problem with the Seahawks. They have no offensive line. They have an aging defense, and they're just Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And how'd that work out last year? It didn't work out. They didn't make the playoffs. Russell Wilson had 32 of their 35 offensive touchdowns, and that's not enough. Russell Wilson can't carry a team on his own. If Aaron Rodgers can't do it, if Aaron Rodgers can't will his team to the Super Bowl, sure as hell Russell Wilson can't.
Yeah.
And I see an aging defense. They're not as old as you think. You see Richard Sherman's 29, Cam Chancellor's 29. Earl Thomas, 28, Bobby Wagner's 27. That's not actually that old, but you're getting up there. You're in their last couple years of your prime. And the big problem with me is they struggle with injuries.
Yeah, definitely.
And if they hadn't been injured, I'd feel better about their age. But because they keep having small little injuries, I'm like, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't trust them or believe in them.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to talk about injuries, and I think injuries, you can either come back from them or you can't come back from them. Look at RG3. He couldn't come back from his ACL tear. He was great for a little bit, but he couldn't come back from it. And I'm hoping the Legion of Boom can come back and be as great as they can, because people say defense wins games, but I'm not sure about that one this year.
Well, the problem with an aging body is you don't recover as fast or as well.
Yeah.
So they could be fine in August, but are they going to be healthy in November? That's the problem. Is are they going to keep having running into the same wall over and over again with having injuries?
Yeah.
And talk about running into the same wall. Here's what drives me nuts about the Seahawks. The offensive line is still an issue.
Yes.
I don't know how do you not fix it by now?
Yeah.
If my mom told me to do the dishes every single night and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll get to it, and I promised I would, but I never did 3 years later, that'd be an issue. They keep saying they want to deal with the offensive line, and they're not dealing with the problem. And I don't know how until you fix the offensive line, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and going off of that, I feel like it's more Seahawks, it's almost like they believe in putting a Band-Aid on it. Like they're believing that they can fix it temporarily, but they haven't fixed the problem. The issue is that their offensive line isn't strong. It hasn't been strong. And I feel like they keep losing key players to the offensive line versus building on them.
Yeah.
And what do they do every draft? They say they're going to choose one. They don't. So when is it going to be time when they choose an offensive lineman or people that can help their offensive line? Who knows?
Well, even if they do, here's something, I don't know if you know this. The way the difference between the NFL and the college football is getting more and more separate.
Yes, I agree.
So offensive linemen coming to the NFL from college, they're not ready to play.
Yeah.
It takes them 2-3 years to get ready to play.
Yeah.
You got to bring in veterans. So I like Dwayne Brown they brought in from the Texans.
Yes.
Awesome. But you need to solidify your offensive line, and they're not making it happen.
I think you make a key point there, because I think when people do bring in draft players, if they're going to play that year, they're usually like wide receivers or running backs, because that's a different topic. But when you're talking about offensive line, most teams have a strong offensive line. So for us to not even have that, what do we build off of?
It's worse than Andrew Luck's. It's worse than the Colts. People don't understand how good Russell Wilson is and how much he makes miracles happen with nothing. He'll draw back and have a guy in his face immediately. Where Tom Brady, even Aaron Rodgers could not win with the Seahawks offensive line. And people say we pay Russell Wilson too much. You don't understand football.
Yeah.
You don't realize how much Russell Wilson puts up and then how much he puts the team on his back. It's unbelievable. It drives me nuts.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think not only he kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in a sense. They both scramble a lot. The difference between Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson is that Aaron Rodgers does have an offensive line. We don't.
Yeah.
So I think your offensive line is like your brick wall. In retrospective, I guess you could say. And if you don't have that, how is he protected? So he's going to scramble as much as he can so he can make a play. And like I think we've talked about this before, is Russell Wilson does not get enough credit.
Help me grow Strong Opinion Sports by telling your friends about it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is. Copy the link and share this with your friends. Tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. And if you really like this podcast, you can subscribe on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on Google Play, and on YouTube.